And our first guest here on the OKPreps recruiting report is a Wasso 2020 tight end, athlete, does a little bit of everything for the Rams as a senior, Mario Kirby, without a doubt one of the top unsigned prospects in Oklahoma's 2020 class. Mario, let's start right there with kind of that intro. Having to do a little bit of everything. Talk about that versatility that you play with and the ability to play a variety of positions for your ball club.
At Owasso, we basically train the next man up. So we train everybody for every position. So if one goes down, somebody's up next.
This season obviously was a special one for you guys where you're able to win a state championship and at the same time go undefeated. You guys won one as sophomores, but this one probably felt a little sweeter just having no losses on the schedule. Just talk about that pursuit of not only a championship but perfection.
Yeah, we went against a lot of adversity in that group. So I'm really appreciative of the support from everybody and stuff like that and the coaching staff.
That adversity you mentioned, because that with this season for Owasso, in my opinion, I think that it's going to get largely overlooked how many injuries that you guys went through as a team, just with how dominant you were on the field. Despite all the injuries, you were still dominating teams week in and week out. How was that during practice? How did you guys handle, like you mentioned, all the adversity that you faced this year?
We took people out during practice and let them rest up because we knew they was ready for the game.
Now, for you personally, you kind of had a breakout season last year as a junior. Obviously, team-wise, you didn't have you fall short in the semifinals. But I think anybody who watched Owasso last year knew that 2019 had the opportunity to be pretty special with how well you guys did near the end of the season. What was your biggest key this off season going from your junior year to your senior year? What did you work on the most as an individual?
I worked on my skills in running routes and blocking, really.
As a tight end, you physical player, things like that, but you're deceivingly fast, man. Like you get out in the open field and you can scoot. Where does that ability come from athletically? I mean, I know that Coach Johnson has really put in some excellent stuff in the strength and conditioning program. Just talk a little bit about that.
Really, yeah, Coach Johnson helps out a lot. We squat and all that running and stuff all in the off season, basically training to be in college.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your recruitment, things like that. Who's talking to you so far?
Pitt State, Fort Hays, UCO, OSU, Iowa State, and I just got a text from Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, your Coach B, spent plenty of time at the Division I level.
Mhm.
He sent out a tweet several weeks ago, I think now, with your film attached, basically just saying, look, if you want a ball player, this is a ball player. How frustrating has this process been for you to be at this point where we're a couple weeks away from February and you're still kind of unsure of where you're headed?
Yeah, it's very frustrating not knowing where your next step is going to be at.
How do you handle that? I mean, because obviously your coaches definitely have the ability to kind of direct you in the right,
Mhm.
possibilities, but at the same time, I try to put myself in your position and what would my mindset be? I'd be upset. I'd be, irritated and I wouldn't know how to handle it. How do you handle it?
I just sit back and whatever comes, it comes.
Now, like we mentioned, a couple weeks away from signing day. What are you looking for when it comes to a potential landing spot for you?
Mm, something like home.
I talked about your versatility, play a variety of positions. The championship game, we got to see you at running back.
Hmm.
What are coaches talking to you as? I mean, are they recruiting you as a tight end? Do they like that versatility? Do they like, the potential of moving you around some? What are they talking to you about?
Some are talking about playing tight end. Some are talking about playing running back. Some even talked about playing linebacker.
Have you ever played linebacker before?
No, sir, but I can get it.
Uh, what do you? I mean, it's you mentioned that you haven't played linebacker before, but I can see you immediately say I haven't played it, but I can do it.
Hmm.
Um, Where does that mentality come from? That confidence where it's like, look, I might not have the experience, so to speak, but that confidence definitely is there, and the athleticism, without a doubt, is there.
I just train so much that I feel like I can take any position they give me.
When you had to step in at running back, and we mentioned, playing some at that position during the state championship game. It's down to you at the running back position. I don't even know where you would fall on the depth chart at running back, but I'm sure it's pretty low. Walk me through how it was on the sideline where it's like, okay, we need Mario to fill in at running back. What was that like on the sideline there in Edmond?
It was very exciting because I didn't expect him to do it, but he was like, we went over in practice. It's just like this. So he throws me in, and I take it down to touchdown.
What is that like for you to practice? And it's probably one of those scenarios where you don't even think it's going to play out. I mean, I'm sure as guys, you practice in whether it's trick plays or just emergency scenarios. You probably practice it 100 times, and you don't ever think it's going to actually happen on a Friday night. What was that like for you to kind of get that call?
It was so exciting. It was very exciting.
With your recruitment and things like that, you mentioned some of the schools that are talking to you. We're a couple weeks away from signing day. You mentioned some of the schools that are kind of recruiting you a little heavily. How has your teammates helped? I mean, guys like Deuce who went through it, Peyton who's signed with Missouri State, Isaiah even as well. He's had an interesting path with his recruitment, waiting until the early signing day to sign. How have they helped you through this process? Because, I mean, look, they're your peers, they're your friends, and they're going through the same thing.
Basically telling me something's going to come.
Now, what are do you have any visits lined up? What's on tap for the next couple weeks?
I got a visit at Pitt that I need to do, and everything else is open. And I'm supposed to go to Iowa State and OSU.
Now, when it comes to those two programs, is that scholarship offers? Are they preferred walk-ons? What's the scenario there?
We haven't really talked about it yet, but they said they'd give me the information and stuff like that when I get there. So,
playing big-time college football, things like that. How has playing at this program in Owasso, especially since Coach B took over, winning 2 titles in 3 years, how has being in that strength and conditioning program that we mentioned earlier? How will that help you at the next level, whether it's, in the Big 12 or whether it's, at one of the lower level FBS schools or even, you mentioned Pitt State. How will playing at this program help you at the next level?
I mean, it definitely helps with Coach B being experienced in the D1 area. So he's basically setting us up to be D1 prospects.
I've talked a lot about, that versatility that you bring here in this conversation. And, we've talked about, your ability on the field, things like that. When you look back at your senior season, we got to take the championship game off the table because as far as, favorite moments, things like that, raising a gold ball is pretty, that's something you're going to remember the rest of your life. When you think back to your senior year, what's one thing that stands out to you?
Beating BA.
Why's that?
Because we lost 2 minute semis last year. So I feel like I've accomplished something.
How excited were you guys? Because I was there for that game as well. And, the lead up to it, it was 1 versus 2. It was, like you mentioned, they got you in the semifinals, but that was a really close game back in November of 2018. How fired up were you guys for that game?
The atmosphere in the locker room was totally different than a normal game. Totally different.
Walk me through that.
Coach Klink was in there screaming, going crazy. Coach Graham was excited. Everybody just was screaming and yelling. Brought a lot of energy to the table.
It was pretty evident, like I mentioned, being there on the sidelines. The first couple of series that Broken Arrow had, being on their sideline, on your sideline, shooting video the whole time. You could see it in your guys with the confidence that you were playing with, especially the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing with an unbelievable amount of confidence. It doesn't take much for Deuce to be confident. He's a confident guy. He comes from a very confident family as well. But when I saw that the confidence in him and the rest of the guys, I was like, this might be an interesting ball game. Which you look back at it, that game was close at halftime
Mm-hmm.
after that blocked punt touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Then you guys blow them out in the second half. Peyton had a big game. Talking with some of the other media members here in Tulsa, one of the nicknames that Barry Lewis from the Tulsa World has for you is Big Play Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that, anytime Owasso needs a big play over the last couple of years, it's usually been Mario Kirby. Where's that ability come from, man, to shine bright in the biggest games?
Really, Coach B sets up the plays where I get open, and that's how the big plays happen.
So it's all Coach B. It's not Mario Kirby.
I mean, at some point, it's me when I'm running the route, but other than that, Coach B sets it up perfect.
Yeah, it's a little Mario Kirby, without a doubt. You have to have the athletic ability. There's no doubt about that. Final question for you here as we wrap up. You're going to have an opportunity to play college football somewhere. I mentioned the versatility that you play with. Big play Mario. You've had a variety of big moments over the last couple of years. Sell yourself to a college program right now. What is a college football program getting when they get Mario Kirby?
They're getting a player that plays anything you want him to.
There's no question there. No question there. No doubts about that. Mario, thanks so much for your time today, sitting down with me. And I know you'll have some decisions up ahead in the next couple of weeks. Good luck in your process. Can't wait to see where you sign in February, all right?
All right, thank you.